Thank you. So now we're just going to have a quick chat about Blockworx. If you could provide us with an overview of what Blockworx does, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, of course, no problem at all, Rebecca. So Blockworx is an app for contractors, and as a company, we've been involved in the the property management sector for the last 10 years or so, and we've provided software that looks at property management companies. We've provided software that looks at the clients, but we reckon the kind of last piece, if you like, in that sort of circle, cradle to grave or cradle to cradle, whichever terminology you choose to use, is the ability for the contractors or the supply chain, again, whatever terminology you use, to be able to upload and interact directly and electronically with the property management companies. So what Blockworx does as an app is it gives a property management company the ability to be able to create quotes on our back-end software and then send those quotes electronically directly to contractors that are working for them, and those contractors will then receive those quotes on their app. We pop up notifications to let them know that there's new stuff that's come through for them. They can then respond to those quotes. Those quotes can then become jobs if they're successful, and subsequently those jobs can be, the invoices can then be raised for those jobs directly, either from the app or from the desktop version of the software.
Excellent, that sounds really interesting. Okay. So let's have a look.
Hi, so good afternoon. Thanks very much for taking the time to have a quick look at Blockworx. Blockworx essentially is a contractors app which allows property management companies to be able to send pieces of work to contractors. Those contractors then have the ability to be able to respond either through the app. So the app on this screen is the left-hand side here, and the desktop version is the one which is on the right-hand side here. So on the right-hand side, what you have the ability to do as a contractor when you first log in is, for the information related to any property management company that you're linked to via Blockworx will then appear on your dashboard. So the dashboard is broken down into 4 very distinct segments. One which looks at quote requests, so that's new quote requests which have been sent to you from any of the property management companies you're linked to, any new jobs, and then the bottom 2 sections look at any queries, so any invoices that have been queried by any of your clients. And this section looks at required invoices. Now, required invoices in our world are what people would refer to normally as diarised charges or recurring charges. So things which come on a monthly basis. You have the ability in here to be able to set diarised charges. So once a month you turn up and you cut the grass as a contractor, and once a month the property management company automatically raises purchase order for you, and you send an invoice in to marry up with that particular purchase order. So for this particular dashboard, as a for example, there are 7 quote requests which have come in to me as a contractor, and as you can see, they have come in from 1 to 3 different companies, and then on the job side there are 5, and again there's 3 different companies represented on here. So Blockworx allows you to be able to connect to as many different property management companies as you are doing work for. So this is all example data that we have on here, but for this particular contractor, I'm connected to 7 or 8 different organizations, and each and every one of those companies, I am linked to a purchase ledger account inside their back-end software, which then allows them to be able to send me quotes, etc. So a little bit of housekeeping with regards to it. Blockworx is designed not around the number of users that you have. It's not designed around the number of organizations that you connect to. It's quite simply designed around the number of invoices that you raise through Blockworx. So what you have the ability to be able to do is to be able to create a number of different users inside Blockworx. You can also create a number of different groups in here. So you can have groups for administrators, you can have groups for operatives, you can have groups for directors, and then based around where you sit within that hierarchy will depend on what permissions that you have within Blockworx itself. So if I go back to my dashboard just for a moment, The new things that I've received on my dashboard will appear, in any of these 4 segments. On my app itself, so the app on the left-hand side, you would get a push notification that will come through to your app. So a little pop up on the top of your phones or on top of your tablets, which will just tell you, if you hover over it, that there's a new job or a new quote has been issued to you for a particular client. Rather than going through each of these sections on the desktop, if I show you how they look inside the app, so a quote requests or a series of quote requests, as they come in, these can be filtered by a particular client, or they can be searched on by a particular date. But if you take a look at this one, reference number from the client, it is currently requested. Once you've responded, that changes to obviously it being submitted. So this has been requested by me for Country House Property Limited. There's no expiry for me in terms of me having to prioritise this particular one. It tells me roughly what I'm looking to do and which development it is. And if I click on this, then I have more details, and I can then respond to it with my quote. Or alternatively, if I've got comments or any questions that I need to ask of the property management company, if I click on the comments section here, then literally I can start a conversation electronically with the property management firm. So I could say, for example, once that's been sent, that will appear for the property management company, and at their end, they then have the ability to respond to you. If you have any queries around what you've been asked for, you have the ability to be able to attach photographs or documentation using the paper clips. At the stage where you're ready to provide a quote, you simply click on the quote, and on the app, you can simply click on add item, type in whatever the description is, your goods, your VAT, and that will generate that. Or if you choose to, if you want to quote just simply in terms of days, hours, and minutes, or just days or just hours, you have the ability to do so. When you hit save and submit, that will be sent directly to the property management company. If you're then successful in undertaking winning that particular piece of work, it would then appear on your right-hand side as a new job. New jobs obviously can appear on the app. They can also appear on the desktop. If you happen to be sitting in the office and you don't have, you don't have your phone in front of you, but you're logged in, if you get a new job, that job will then appear here with a reference, the details of the property, whatever it is that you're being asked to do. And then you have one of 2 ways of being able to respond to it. Either you can attach your invoice file. So if you've generated your invoice, for example, through an external accountancy package, whether that be Xero or Sage or something like that, if that generates a PDF, then you quite simply click on attach your invoice here. And at that point, you just drag your invoice in, stick in your goods VAT and your invoice total, and send it to the property management company, and that will then upload automatically onto the back-end software. Or alternatively, if you want to create your own invoice from scratch, you have the ability to click on create your own invoice, and then simply enter the pieces of work with the goods and the VAT. And once you have completed your list of items which you've undertaken as that particular job, once you've completed each of your description lines, you can simply either save and submit, which will send it directly to the property management company, or save for later, which means at any point in time you can then come back in and edit the record. As with the quotes, there would be, if there's any comments that have gone backwards and forwards between yourselves and the property management company, they'll then appear underneath this comment section. So you get full audit trackability and traceability. You can also attach any photographs or supporting documentation that you require or need for this particular job. You can attach that just using a paperclip. And then at the stage where those jobs have been completed and you have submitted your invoice, so if you've gone through whichever process, either attaching or creating, once that's done, then those jobs and their particular status will then appear in here. So where you have got any invoices which have been queried, they will be listed with the invoice queried option, or status, I beg your pardon. Any new jobs that have been received will be listed here, and anything that you've already actioned, if you tick on the actioned button, if there's any which have been paid or have been submitted to the client, then they would then appear on a larger list. Once you've been paid, if you go to your invoice history, you would then get a breakdown of all of the transactions which you have been, you sent the property management company an invoice for, and you have then either been paid for or you're waiting for payment for. So for this particular one, there are two invoices which property management companies have received for. So for this total outstanding for that particular KA property management company to you as a contractor would be £362.38. And if you come down to the likes of Springhope one, this one's sitting at £360, and that invoice was dated back on the 24th of May. So it's a compact application where you have a desktop version which allows you to be able to create your users and create your company hierarchy and assign permissions, and you have an app which would allow your operatives who are working out in the field, or if you're a smaller organisation, if you happen to be just one or two individuals that work for your company, then you have the ability to simply run pretty much everything through your app, where you'll get your notifications and you'll be able to respond to your clients with requests for from quotes, create your jobs, and then onto your desktop and quite simply create your invoices and responses from there. Full tracking and tracing in terms of accountability for your invoices, full invoice history, so you can see where a quote was created, that quote that then became, a job. That job was subsequently had an invoice raised from it, and then the invoice status as and when it's been sent to the property management company, whether or not it's been paid or whether it's awaiting payment. That's it, simple as that.
So if people want to find out more about Blockworx and get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can certainly get in touch with me directly at crawford.burns@blockworx, that's blockworx.co.uk, or give me a bell on my mobile, 07584 684726. Blockworx website is also up there, it's blockworx.co.uk, and if they can call the office, it's 0345 646 0810. So yeah, we're available Monday to Friday, but we do take the weekends off when we can.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much for your time today and for showing us how Blockworx works.
Thank you, Rebecca. Much appreciated.
Really good to see it. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot.